Yeah, I've been concerned for a long time that when the crash did come, that it would happen under a Republican because people think they're free market, even though their policies obviously through all these crashes have not been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. When the first film came out in 2019, a lot of people wondered like, why were we talking about tariffs during the Great Depression, and why were we talking about the 1970s? And I do think the public is a lot more willing to hear those ideas now that they've had to deal with inflation these last few years. Since we've kind of progressed our conversation toward this time period, if somebody was like in their 60s or 70s going forward with the fact that stocks are so high and there's this tech bubble and the fact that bonds aren't safe because if inflation picks up that could be wiped out, and the fact that like the last 10, 15 years we've really had this shift into US stocks, and like you just mentioned, it might be starting to shift back to the rest of the world. Like, how would you recommend somebody in their 70s and 80s, or sorry, 60s and 70s protect their retirement going forward?
Yeah, well, I'm in there. I'm 62, so I'm in that group. Yeah, inflation is going to wipe out most retirees, unfortunately, so I think in a few years, certainly, I think that most people who are retired today will no longer be retired. They're going to have to go back to work, and I think a lot of people who are planning on retiring are going to have to postpone those plans. The only wild card here would be the AI, and how quickly we can implement artificial intelligence in scale, and not just inside a computer, but in a robot, so that we can dramatically expand our intellectual and physical labor pool. So to the extent that we can mass produce low cost intelligent robots, yeah, I mean, maybe we can all retire after all. So it's kind of like a wild card, between how quickly we can make those investments. And again, the investments to do that are going to be very expensive. So, where's the money come from to do it, right? It's a big project. Yeah, there's a return on the other side of the investment, but you got to afford to make the investment. But I do think that you're going to see inflation wiping out a lot of purchasing power before AI can restore it, and capitalism can restore it. So yeah, people need to invest. Like again, I said, gold's at 3,000. It's been it's increased 10 times since I first started telling my clients to buy it, and then I started helping them buy it because I set up Schiff Gold because I didn't want them to get ripped off when they bought it. And yeah, I mean, people have been buying gold from me, and they're doing better than the people that just bought stocks from me. I mean, yeah, I have some stocks that went up 10 times, but most of them didn't. But gold, all you have to do is buy gold, right? But even the gold stocks haven't done anywhere near as well as gold, which surprises me because I have more gold stocks than gold, and I should be a lot richer today, and I'm not. But I think I will be. I think those gold stocks, are going to go up, and people who are listening to this, should be buying them. I manage a gold fund, or I own the gold fund. It's managed by Adrian Day, the Europe Pacific Gold Fund. People can buy it. EPGIX is the no load symbol. But you can get information at my website at europac.com. But I mean, I think that's the best speculative play that out there. Forget about crypto crap. These gold mining stocks, they're the ones that can take you to the moon, I think. Definitely upside is much greater than the downside. Whereas I think in crypto, the downside is a lot more likely. But I help my clients invest in dividend paying foreign stocks, conservative stocks, stocks that trade at low PEs, low price earnings, that have good dividend yields, 5, 6, 7, 8%. And those dividend yields, if I'm correct, those yields will go up as prices go up. So the yields provide an income stream that is in itself a hedge against inflation. And the assets will go up, because if you're a typical retiree and you're living off of a fixed income, you got a pension, you got an annuity, you got some bonds, you're going to get wiped out. So you really need to be in income producing stocks. You can't be in just, high PE stocks that pay no dividends. They're not going to be of any help to your retirement. But I think that if you, are of retirement age or nearing it, you should get a hold of my reps at Europe Pacific Asset Management, and we could talk to you about how we can help you build and manage a portfolio for you that I think will help you stay retired or retire, right, depending on where you are. But again, most Americans, once upon a time in America, married women didn't have to work. Now, most married women work. Well, once upon a time in America, you could afford to retire, right? That's going to change. People aren't going to be retired again, unless we get the AI miracle.